that we had that very, very difficult case in South Africa. This is a case where the Attorney General of the Republic of Zambia wants the body of the late president for burial. The Attorney General, Mulilo Kabesha, has since sued the family led by the widow, Mama Esther Nyawa Lungu, and the children and the family spokesperson. And he wants to compel them to surrender the body to government, to government. This is a matter we've been following up, and today we are privileged that we are hosting the family spokesperson himself, Honorable Makebi Zulu, former minister, is a prominent Lusaka lawyer, and during this period, he hasn't only been a family lawyer, but the family appointed him as spokesperson to handle this matter. He'll give us an update of where we are, where we're coming from and where we are. And there was a lot of confusion today. I saw on social media, for example, the matter of the young man, Vincent from Cape Town. People thought he was a lawyer for the family. So I'm glad that we now have Honorable Makebi Zulu to separate all this confusion for us. Honorable Makebi Zulu, good evening and welcome to today's program.
Good evening, Ambassador, and thank you for having me on your program. It's been a while.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Honorable Makebi Zulu, today was a momentous occasion. You've been preparing for this. I expected that there will be an urgent application because last week you received this funny but strange letter where the Attorney General was demanding that they need to see the body, they need to inspect the body, they need to authenticate the body. I thought that would be an urgent preliminary application today. So just walk us through where we are, what is happening, what was happening at the Pretoria High Court today.
Well, today was the day that was intended for the main case to be argued. And of course, last week you saw how that there was a letter that was written by the lawyers for the state demanding that they authenticate as well as identify the body. That was pretty much preposterous, to say the least, because we have had this going on. Tomorrow will be exactly 2 months. You may have noted that on the 5th of June, upon the death of the former president, President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, he died in the morning, then in the afternoons, Honorable Tasila Lungu did announce the passing on of the former president. And at some point you heard President Hakainde Hichilema telling the nation that he was aware in the morning that President Edgar Chagwa Lungu had died. We know this matter before court is brought at his instant. So who wanted to authenticate and verify the body when he was well aware, or at least he claims to have been well aware? He declared a day of national mourning, and we believe that for him to declare a day of national mourning, it was declared over an ascertained person. But you'll have noticed that there has been a lot of propaganda that has been ongoing, mostly orchestrated by the applicant, or at least their surrogates, vilifying the family and saying all sorts of things against the family. Then that letter simply put a mark to say that the source of all that propaganda that was relating to the identity, or indeed whether or not President Edgar Chagwa Lungu has died, could only have come from the state. And that letter was just authenticating that particular point. And of course, upon receipt of that letter, our lawyers did write to them to say they were seeking instructions. And of course, we did state that that was not going to happen, because it was more like a mockery to the family, and we wouldn't want to play along, or the family is disinclined to play along with the games that have been played by the state on social media and everywhere else. This is a solemn moment for the family, a solemn moment for everyone in Zambia, and it being a solemn moment, we need to take it with the seriousness that it deserves. And as such, as a family, they concentrated on the case, so concentrated on what was at the core of the case. And you may have noted the state filed in an application, and their cause of action is that the state is entitled to repatriate, and that
Council,
they are
that letter,
yes.
Yeah, Council, that letter shocked all of us because it impugned that the late president could be alive. It impugned that maybe there was no truth in his demise. How did you receive that shocking, especially the words in that letter that they wanted
As
to
a matter of fact,
inspect?
it impugned the fact that there was a matter in court. Like they were not thinking when they took the matter to court. I'm sorry to say this. But if you're going to go to court and say you want to repatriate the remains of the former president, it means at that particular point, you've ascertained that it's the remains of the former president that you are repatriating. As a matter of fact, if indeed that was important, you don't do it at the end of the case. You do it before the case. Then if you do it before the case, you know that the person whose remains we are claiming is indeed dead. And therefore, we are going to court for repatriation. Otherwise, it defeats the purpose of having gone to court. It's like climbing a tree from the top. You don't do that. You don't do that. And in this particular case, that's why we're saying it appeared like a mockery to the family. And the family has been subjected to a lot of things that have been unnecessary, including this legal process. It was absolutely unnecessary for reasons that I will be able to explain as we go on. Yeah.
Before we delve into the details, there was a lot of confusion today, including, international organizations like SABC. They thought the matter was being determined today. Just give us a brief calendar. Of course, we saw at the end of the trial or the actual forum, the special forum you held today, that judgment or ruling could come any time before Friday. But just quickly speak to the calendar. What has been happening? What has been done by you, what has been done by the state, and today's hearing, then we delve into that particular matter.
You will note that this matter commenced on or about the 24th, 25th of June, when the state sought to get what they call an interdict, an equivalent of an injunction in Zambia, to stop the burial of President Edgar Chagwa Lungu here in South Africa. When we went to court, the court did not give the state an injunction to bury. We made an undertaking. It was an agreed position to say, we are not going to bury until this matter is determined. It was an undertaking on both parties. So let's say the undertaking on our part was in good faith. In good faith because we saw that the state intended to just possibly disturb the process. And in trying to disturb the process, they brought a matter which is yet to be determined by the court. And the court gave them a period, or the court, through those particular orders, said they were to file the originating process by the 4th of July. We were to respond by the 11th of July, and they were to reply by the 18th of July. Then thereafter, they would file their arguments. They should have filed their arguments on the 18th, but they filed their arguments on the 22nd, and we were to reply on the 24th. That was the sequence of events. And after the 24th, the hearing was to be today, and the hearing indeed was today. And today, obviously, you may have followed the proceedings. When a matter of this sort comes up, like I did explain that they filed their arguments on the 22nd, we filed ours thereafter, meaning that the court already had the arguments that the parties were going to present before the court. And the parties were only to present that which they feel they needed to supplement on, or indeed that which may have a reason but is connected to the matter that needs to be emphasized in the matter. So we had that sort of engagement today. And you notice that the state was arguing the issue of an agreement. But if you look at the documents that they filed in court, it had nothing to do with an agreement. The reliefs that they were seeking had nothing to do with an agreement. Now, there is some interesting part in law where if you are weak on the law, you hammer the facts. Or if you are weak on the facts, you try and concentrate on the law. The state today, in my view, was playing rugby in a game of football. What do I mean by this? If you look at the reliefs that are on K4, on page K4, if I believe you should be able to have that document. There are specific
Yes, I can see that document. Council, just hold on. Let me,
Yes.
Try to speak because we've removed you. Somehow I've lost your volume. Yeah, speak.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Now I can get you. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you look at that document, those are the reliefs that the state was seeking in this particular case. Now, any person who followed the arguments that were in court today and what the prayer for the state was. Now, the court cannot get out of the boundary that the state has set for itself. And the boundary that the state has set for itself are these 3 or 4 points. Let me say 3 points because the fourth one just relates to costs. The first relief that the state is asking for in this matter is that they want the court to declare that the applicant, who is the government in this case, is entitled to repatriate the body of the late President Edgar Lungu for the purpose of a state funeral .
Yeah, Council, let me help you, yes. So the first point is that they want, like you stated, that the body of the late president must be repatriated to Zambia. Number 2, they want the authority to be authorized and ordered upon demand by the sheriff of the Honorable Court to surrender the body of the late president to a representative of the Zambian High Commissioner in South Africa so as to enable the applicant, which is the Attorney General, to repatriate the body to Zambia for the purpose of, as stated in paragraph 1, which is body viewing, funeral and burial. Then the third one is to the seventh representative to authorize, I think the seventh representative here is the undertaker, to present when paragraph 2 and order is executed and the aide-de-camp, the late president's personal physician and 2 family members may be, as such restrictions will provide, may accompany the body. Number 4, this document is quite faint, I'm sorry, but I'll get it. Number 4, cost to scale. I think this is something to do with scale. Just explain that document, Council.
Okay, so the first part, I noticed that you read in a hurry. I want you to understand it for what it is. So the first paragraph says,
please help us.
It is declared, they want a declaration that the applicant, meaning the government, is entitled to the late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. So now the state is claiming an entitlement to repatriate the body of President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Now, the arguments that were in court, I'm trying to explain why I'm saying they were playing a game of rugby in football. They are pushing the point that they must be the ones to repatriate the body. If you look at the agreement that they were referring to, or what they say agreement that was breached, in what was our understanding the time we sat with the state, is that the family was going to repatriate the body to Zambia. You saw how that there was a private jet at the airport. You saw how that the family was ready to move into Zambia. You saw that. Now, they have come to court and they are saying they are entitled to repatriate the body. Assuming that that agreement was still valid, which we argued is not, then the state is trying to get the court to alter what was agreed by the parties. The court was not addressed on this particular point in the oral arguments. And the oral arguments tended to deal with a purported agreement. Now, you may have heard the argument on the part of our lawyer, who was saying that they have come to you. This matter has come before court. They are not asking for specific performance. Now, specific performance means that if there is an agreement between the parties and you allege that this party or party A has not followed the conditions of the agreement, you can ask the court to compel the party that is in default to follow the agreement as is laid down. Now, does this prayer mean that the court should compel the family to do what is in the agreement? No. It is introducing a new element. It is introducing a new thing that is not even part of an agreement, assuming that there was an agreement that was to be followed. There was a back and forth in court that you may have noticed. And the most important part in the state arguing their case, though admitting that the requirement of the family is that President Hakainde Hichilema should be nowhere near the body, they wanted to concentrate on the aspect of repatriation. Now, we're expecting a judgment in the next few days, and that judgment of the court will be dealing with relief number one. This relief number one, should the government repatriate the body of the late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu? If they are going to say yes, they need to give reasons. And the reasons would, assuming there's an agreement, would be to go to the agreement and say, does this supposed agreement, which both parties are saying was breached, say that it is the duty of the government to repatriate the body? Your guess is as good as mine as to what the answer is going to be on this part. The second relief that the state is asking for is that the 8th respondent, this is the funeral home, be ordered that when the sheriff demands they hand over the body to the embassy of Zambia or a representative of the government of Zambia. Now, these two, if you will notice, are seeking to exclude the participation of the family in this process. Now, if the court is going to look at this and say, is it reasonable that this matter, or indeed the government or the court, should order that the body, the funeral home, hands it over directly to the government? These are matters that the state brought in, and our arguments in our documents, which needed not be repeated in court because they are already in the document. You heard at the beginning, the court was saying, we have read what is in the submissions, we know what you have in the submissions. What you have to do is tell us something more. This is not our case. It is a case for the state. So if the state raises an argument, ours is only to respond to matters that they have raised. Matters that have been settled in the documents are settled in the documents, and the court has already read. Now, for those that are curious and only saw what was happening in court, are obviously thinking, is that everything? No, that is not everything. The matters that are in the documents are, number one, government wants to exclusively repatriate the body to Zambia. Number two, government wants the body to be surrendered to the government of the Republic of Zambia by the funeral home, to the exclusion of the family. Number three, they are saying that the first to the seventh respondents are authorized to be present when the funeral home is handing over to the High Commission. Now, should it be the state to give permission to the family to be present when the funeral home is handing over the body? These are matters that we have argued extensively in the document. Now, they're not only saying that the family should be present when the funeral home is handing over to the government, they go further and say this should be subject to such restrictions that the government of the Republic of Zambia may reasonably impose. Meaning that the government of the Republic of Zambia wants to take full control of the body, suggesting that the body belongs to the government, and the matters that they were raising in court, there is no relief that they've asked for in this particular case. It's for that reason that we keep saying they were playing rugby in a game of football. So if your opponent is playing rugby, you know that the moment they touch the ball and start running with it, that's a handball. You have a free kick. And obviously, you need not caution or warn the other party. You just concentrate on what they are raising. So that is where we are right now, and we are awaiting the judgment of the court, answering these specific questions and not going anywhere else. Yes.
Yeah, Counsel, we're privileged that that you are a lawyer. You'll understand this. But for us, first of all, we watched. What we watched, what was that? Is that the entire case? You are saying there are submissions that the court has already. So I think that is important to explain what was happening today. Maybe muli science exam, mwalemba theory, mwachana practice. What was this forum today, and what have you submitted to court before?
Okay.
Number two, there was an issue of the Attorney General's case there through their lawyers. It seems that their demand seems to have shifted to your agreement, yet they are relying on the agreement. They are saying you've broken the agreement. They are saying that by agreeing to repatriate the body to Zambia, it meant that either both the late president and the family had agreed that the body be buried in Zambia. So why are we burying in South Africa? So just explain that before I come to the parties and show the pictures, because people don't know who is the lawyer for the family, who is the gentleman who wanted to be just included in the court case, who many people are calling a family lawyer, and who's the actual family lawyer. But maybe just go back to what was happening today. Is that your entire case we saw? And the Attorney General says you've broken the agreement. You're also telling them they've broken the agreement. Just enlighten us on all those two issues.
All right. So what you saw happening in court firstly was the application by an intervener by the name of Vincent, a Zambian who's resident in Cape Town, who wanted to join this matter. He does not represent the family, and in his application, he applied to say, in one breath, he was saying, well, whereas the family is entitled to the body belongs to the family, President Hakainde Hichilema should be allowed to attend the burial anywhere where it was going to be. What he sought to argue before court is that in the event that the court says the family is free to bury, even if it means burying in South Africa, he wanted the court to make an order that President Hakainde Hichilema can come to represent the people of Zambia and be present at the burial. That is what was before court. But the court asked, what is your interest in this particular matter? He said he would be affected in the event that if the president was his arguments were pretty much everywhere. You may have noticed that his arguments were pretty much everywhere. And obviously, at the end of it all, he was not joined to the case. The court decided you do not have sufficient interest. There is no right that you have ascertained, your right, that will be affected in the event that the court made a judgment whether to bury in South Africa or in Zambia. And so he was excluded from the matter. So the next person that you heard was the old man who was representing the state. And in his arguments, like you rightly put it, he was arguing the case on behalf of the state, hanging on to the agreement and saying the family is the one that breached the agreement. But he was candid enough to admit that there was an inclusion in the program, and that inclusion was not agreed to by the family. That inclusion was the fact that President Hakainde Hichilema would be at the airport to receive the body, and the body would be taken to a designated place for a church service, and for what was termed a church service, something that was not agreed upon prior to the departure or the family wanting to depart. Over and above that, whereas the family had said the body would be received by the state, by the family in Zambia, what happened was the day before we could even depart, government announced that only people who are going to attend by invitation were going to be there, without giving an opportunity to discuss this matter with the family, because we agreed that at every step of the way we're going to agree, meaning that the family was not able to invite the family members who are going to receive the body. And over and above that, those that what was put in the program was going to mean that the family was going to land in Zambia, and the only person to receive the body there was going to be the army and President Hakainde Hichilema. Something that was not agreed on, something that should have been agreed on. And that showed that the state could not be trusted, because at any juncture there was a change. Every time there was an agreement, there was a change. Now, there have been attempts to try and politicize this matter. But the reason the family in most cases has kept quiet and only stuck to the real issues that were being dealt with. In the middle of that, the state was bringing different stories. You would see the propaganda online, bashing the family, saying the family had bought 150 cars, the family was living luxuriously, the family are running away from the cases in Zambia. That was never the case. They even went to an extent of saying the family wants their cases dropped before they can bring the body. That was never the case. You saw Mr. Patrick Kangwa confirm that that was never an issue that was discussed. in the meetings that we had. And today, the government conveniently chose to argue the question of the agreement having been breached without necessarily looking at the prayers that they have in their document, which defines the four corners of their case. Even assuming that the agreement was valid, as it were, there is nothing in this document when it comes to the reliefs that the government is seeking that empowers the court to say, yes, do this, yes, or no, don't do that. Because all they are saying in this document is that they want to exclusively repatriate the body to Zambia. They want the body to be handed over from the funeral home to the government. The family cannot only be present, and they'll be present on conditions or restrictions that the government may impose. And they even go to the extent of 2 or 3 people may accompany the body. So the family in this case wonders, what is our role in all this? Who is entitled to all this? That's why in our arguments, in the documents, we have said there are several authorities. Some authorities were cited in court, including by the lawyers for the state, where they are recognizing the rights of the widow, the rights of a deceased person. And our argument was that, listen, there's this right to dignity. It extends to the person who has died, but it's also that of the family. And the questions that the government will be should have been answering in this case is whether or not the issue of the burial of President Chagwa Lungu would be dignified to the satisfaction of the family. Because the desire of the family in all this is one: how do we give President Edgar Chagwa Lungu a dignified send-off? You were playing the video for President Edgar Chagwa Lungu.
Is that they're alleging that there is no will that was left by President Edgar Lungu where he would like to be buried. Another thrust, they are stating that his former president, therefore, if we bury in South Africa, we are denying an opportunity to President Hakainde Hichilema and the people of Zambia from mourning him with dignity, decency. These are
let me address the aspect
arguments.
Of no will.
What is your answer to that?
So when they allege that there was no will, our argument then is fortified to say where there is no will, where the late a person who has died has not stated how they should be buried, then what happens is that the decision of the family, particularly the next of kin or the spouse, is the one that will stick. That is the law. Now there was an argument to say this is not an ordinary person. This is a former president. And you heard when the court said in jest to say, well, the state has said that those benefits come back. And the court went further and said, well, that's a concession on the part of the state. Now, what's the extent of this concession? They are conceding that this office, now the court will have to determine whether the position of a former president as an office and a person that held the position of former president. If you look at the letter that was filed in court, the letter that related to whether or not the president was entitled to those benefits, if you read it and read it carefully, you will notice that the office of the 6th Republican president.
Are you talking about the letter dated, I think, 29th October 2023, written by Dr. Oliver Kalabo as Deputy Secretary to Cabinet, in which he stripped off the benefits for the late president because the late president had joined partisan politics. Is that the letter you are referring to?
That's the letter I'm referring to. But particularly, the last paragraph of that letter will tell you that they said the office of the 6th Republican president is closed with immediate effect, and the members of staff redeployed. Now, the office of the sixth Republican president is the one that is entitled to all those benefits by the person that is in that office. So, in name, President Edgar Chagwa Lungu was a former president. The office of the sixth Republican president, which entitled him to those benefits, had been closed. The benefits had been stripped away. And the argument before court by the government is that upon his demise, then those benefits come back. That is what the state argued. And the court was gracious enough to say, well, that is a concession on the part of the state. They're saying that they'll buy a house.
What did the court mean when they said that?
Yes. You heard how that the lawyer for the government was saying, yeah, they'll buy her a car, they'll build her a house. That is what they said. But that only goes to confirm that indeed this is the person that you stopped from traveling for medicals. This is a person who, when he traveled for medicals, traveled in their private capacity and was here in South Africa in their private capacity. You have come in now because he is dead. The court will have to determine that. But the determination of that, does it go to fulfill any of these reliefs? If the conclusion is that this person who has died was a former president that is entitled to those benefits, and the benefits that are in that particular document are funeral expenses in relation to death. Those are the only benefits that are there. But of course, there is a circular that talks of burial, funerals and all. It is not law. The government did not state before court any law that says the president must be, or a former president, or indeed a president must be buried in this manner. The argument before court was that there are protocols and procedures that have been developed over time. You, Ambassador, will agree with me that the first death that we have of a former president was in 2008, or indeed of a president was in 2008. And so far, we have had 4 presidents that have died, and President Edgar Chagwa Lungu is the 5th one. And these have died. And according to the state, this has condensed into a tradition, a custom, and a culture. And we are saying, no, 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 no. It can't develop into a tradition, a custom, and a culture merely because the others have been buried there. The alternative argument was that, well, there's the Kawecha Kaunda case, and we have argued that this is different, and the court did say that, well, listen, for Kenneth Kaunda, he died in Zambia. President Edgar Chagwa Lungu has died in South Africa. That's a distinction. But our lawyer went further to say, listen, the case of Kawecha is different because President Kenneth Kaunda even had benefits of a former president, as well as that judgment which was given by the court was not a judgment on a substantive matter where parties were allowed to be heard or parties were heard. It was a matter for judicial review which failed. And those were stated, by the way, by the judge, because the parties were not heard. So it's not a matter that has really been tested in the Zambian courts. That is what we had prevailing in court today. And we look forward to the court answering these 3 prayers that the state prayed. And these 3 prayers do not say anything about the supposed agreement. And with these 3 prayers, the court can't even come to an extent of saying, well, the agreement should be followed, because it doesn't deal with that. And that was the argument that our lawyer was presenting, to say there is no prayer for specific performance. There is nothing in the prayer that alleges or wants a finding that there was a breach
Counsel,
on any
that's
party.
what I want you to dwell on just for a few minutes, because you stated something just now, that this is not your case. It is a case of the Attorney General. So the case of the Attorney General came to argue his case. You also stated that you've made submissions already. You've already laid your Attorney General's case.
What was being talked about in court is just a tip of an iceberg. You have the over 73 pages of arguments, 53 pages of arguments that has already been filed in court, which were not touched on whilst we're in court. The state raised an issue of the supposed agreement, looking at the progression of the matter, but then forgetting that the issues that they want the court to determine have got nothing to do with the agreement. And those are the issues that you just showed.
Because the agreement was deemed breached by both parties.
Well, in this particular case, yes, both parties are saying you breached. On our part, we didn't breach any part of it. According to them, you breached when you decided not to repatriate. And we're saying, no. You breached when you changed the terms and conditions of the compromise that we had. Now, that is a compromise on the part of the family that was reached, which they have called an agreement. But that compromise was conditional on them abiding to all that was put in those concessions that we made. So the family made certain concessions. The state was to abide by all those concessions that the family made. They chose not to. So with that conditionality having been breached, we couldn't move. And that is a matter for possibly another case. This particular case, the government is saying we are entitled to repatriate. The family must be excluded from this process, save to be present and on conditions that may be imposed by the government. Now, how cruel can you be? So those are the things that will have to be determined in this particular case. And
thank you, Counsel. Let me bring the visuals, because there's been confusion. I saw a lot of confusion on social media. Who is the family spokesperson? I mean, who's the family lawyer? Who's the lawyer for the Attorney General? And who is this young man, Vincent, from Cape Town? Many people thought that Vincent was actually the family lawyer. Let me just bring those visuals for a minute. And thank you to the dear viewers, the thousands that have joined this podcast. We are grateful. There will be an opportunity for you to call and air your views. Let me just begin with the visuals so that we see what was happening at court.
Reporting live from High Court. The other team has been defeated.
But we stand with.
But we are standing with you.
Family. It's your family.
It's your family.
So in that visual, you see that the visuals there is that the protesters hired for government abandoned their protest and left the posters there. This is a lawyer for government.
Lady will bear in mind that there was the agreement reached that when the funeral takes place, that the current president will be permitted to be there when foreign dignitaries to receive them, and also when the state funeral takes place. Now, I emphasize this because this is one of the grounds on which the respondents, when they made the remarkable about turn on the 18th.
So you watch that. That is the main lawyer for the Attorney General who was in. his case. We have the lawyer for family, the lawyer for the family.
The facts and the pleading, therefore, the conditional counter application. Something can do any further. Lots of relief, sort of declarative. I didn't see specific performance for everyone there. Needed to align and make sure that everything is before court, everything is properly. Facts that we rely on, which the applicant says is non-existent in that affidavit, is existent. We rely on all the facts already stated, the representation, the impossibility that they admit to say if there's a breach, it's not material, and in any event, it's impossible to agree to such a term because the President will be there. And then obviously the undue hardship has already been dealt with. It will be undignified to force the respondents to have the current President preside over the funeral of the late President.
Sorry, are you saying we must read those factors in?
Those factors are dealt with because we incorporate the factors of the answering affidavit. We start off by saying everything that's said in the answering affidavit is applicable. The reason why the conditional counter application.
Then there was a case of a third party who had applied as an intervener. You know, as counsel would explain, an intervener is a third party who joins an existing or processes, and they were not originally part of it. They are third parties, but they are saying they want to assert interest. Some people are saying this is the lawyer for the family, but this is Vincent, a businessman who lives in Cape Town. In fact, if you see his initial filing in court, he was demanding that the body be taken to Zambia for President Hakainde Hichilema to host the funeral. I think Honorable Makebi Zulu can speak to that. He also stated that in the event that the funeral, the court were to rule that the funeral will be held in Zambia, he should be allowed, President Lungu should be allowed to attend. That's Vincent. He's not a lawyer.
We have the church leaders, NGOs, people who are not worshipping government. If you bring people who worship government, you can't agree.
So Vincent Kafula is a Zambian national based in Cape Town. He came to court. I think I'll publicize his earlier filing in court when he wanted to be joined to the case as an intervener. He said President Hakainde Hichilema was entitled to the body because he's president of the Republic of Zambia. He's entitled to, to sit and preside over this funeral. That was his main application. He mumbo-jumboed in, but he has written submissions in his application that you can be aware of. Then the Attorney General made some interesting views after the case. He admitted that the South African law, this is the Attorney General, Mulilo Kabesha, admitted that the South African law only allows the next of kin to decide the fate of the deceased person. Listen to him.
The late indicated. But what even the court was asking that did the deceased president make his wish that he wanted to be buried in Zambia? And the answer was yes. So who is saying he shouldn't be buried in Zambia? The first respondent is the one who has made the decision. But again, of course, she could have made that decision because the law here in South Africa says the next of kin. Yeah, so it's here.
So the Attorney General admitted, counsel, the Attorney General admitted that in South Africa, and the South African law, the next of kin determines. But earlier he had asked, is alleging that there is no will by the late president to be buried elsewhere other than Zambia. And then he's asking that question. Who is then making that decision? Then he ends up by saying that he recognizes that the law in South Africa allows for states that the next of kin determines it. Of course, of public interest. Just speak to this particular matter.
Well, indeed, the law in South Africa is that in the absence of a will, an expression by the person that obviously the decision of the next of kin, who may be the widow, if in the absence of the widow, the next of kin, yet another person in line would make the determination. And it's for that reason that we're saying, listen, what was heard in court was only a part. You didn't see the video of President Edgar Chagwa Lungu being played in court, but it is submitted and the judges are considering those videos. You didn't see other audio and video evidence that we have presented before the court as to what has been going on in, relating to this matter. You've not seen all those, because if we had to go through everything, it would have taken a month or two to indeed go through everything, dissect every conversation, dissect every video. Then it would have taken forever. And the court said, listen, we have already looked at what is contained in this. There are videos and audios presented by the states. There are videos and audios presented by us, the respondents in this matter. I say us because I'm cited as the seventh respondent in the matter. And then argue on other things that you wish to emphasize or that are a core part of your matter. And this is the state's case. So the state argued what they thought was important to them, which unfortunately, as we have looked at this, does not fall within the three prayers that they are speaking to, and we were able to respond relating to that matter. And in this particular case, it is unfortunate that we are where we are. And
Counsel, let me just interrupt, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Are you saying that the state introduced an argument that is not in their submissions? Did the state introduce new facts? And what are the ramifications?
The state veered off from what is in their prayers, because whatever you're going to plead should be going to substantiate why you think the court must give you a particular order. Now, when the state came up with their case, they came up with their case with a sense of entitlement, that this is our entitlement to repatriate the body by ourselves. The family can only accompany. Now they need to find facts, or the facts are supposed to direct the courts towards the reliefs that they are seeking. Instead, what they were arguing in court is a supposed breach. Now, if the court is going to say the state is entitled to repatriate the body, it means that the court will be introducing a new element or a new clause in the agreement, if at all they're going to read into the agreement. They'll be introducing this new one, which contradicts the concession on the part of the family that we will repatriate the body on our own from Lanseria Airport to Zambia. Now, can a court replace, assuming it's a contract or an agreement, can a court replace an agreement in a contract that favors a respondent to that which favors an applicant because the applicant has asked for it? Those are the questions that are very important, and those are the arguments that our lawyer was putting across to say, listen, if you're going to strictly look at this agreement, you will find that you cannot enforce it or give an order for enforcement because there's no relief that has been sought by the government that it should be so. That was the long and short of the argument. Now, the court will have to look at the desire of the family, the desire of the
ishime computer yini angathumita yini ayisho ha mwashime computer la internet ya shima so apolo ya yeah. YouTube day or computer comigo fully probably como você queria network yeneko leisho porogira ile
nabe katako
family to be given the right to bury their loved one in accordance with their wishes. And we have seen some officials from the Zambian government as well show up to the court this morning to defend their position. Constitutional duty, that is the Constitution of Zambia, to bury the former president in accordance with those state protocols and ensure that he's given a dignified funeral in accordance with the public interest of not only Zambia but its people. Over to you in studio.
Thank you very much. We had a technical because Honorable Makebi Zulu is in South Africa and I am in the United States. So it's a connections between the two states. Then brought. I don't know what happened, but we had the glitch where the connection just dropped. But on my page alone, about 70,000 people are watching on my page alone. 2,400 comments and so many likes. This include, then there are other pages where people are watching. We thank you. We'll be opening the phone lines just shortly, and then we'll allow Honorable Makebi Zulu to leave because he's got an urgent meeting that he's rushing to. So I apologize. We have that technical glitch. I don't know what happened, but it happens in technology. This is remote broadcasting. I'm in the United States. Honorable Makebi Zulu is in South Africa. And I don't know what happened there. But let me see how if he's now connected and we can begin.
The late indicated. But what even the court was asking that did the deceased president make his wish that he wanted to be buried in Zambia? And the answer was yes. So who is saying he shouldn't be buried in Zambia? The first respondent is the one who has made the decision. But again, of course, she could have made that decision because the law here in South Africa says the next of kin. Yeah, so it's looking at what the law says here.
Is this something that the Zambian
Counsel, I lost you there. I don't know if it was your hotel internet, whether it was my internet here in South Africa. I don't know, in the United States. I don't know what happened. But you have attracted a huge audience, I think because of the matter we're dealing with. This is a national matter. President Hakainde Hichilema maybe thought closed, the day of national mourning, and he said people should return to their lives. They didn't. The last 1 hour, you've spoken just about the legalities of what happened today. Speak generally to this case and to the relationship to our country. We've drawn international attention, and every time this matter comes up, like it is here, just on my page alone, 70,000 people are watching. This is a huge national matter. It remains an open wound. What have we done right? What have we done wrong? I want you to drop your legalese and the legal issues. Just speak to this matter.
Well, this is a very sad matter, I must say. And it borders on failure of leadership. I wouldn't want to really get down to... I'm trying to avoid being perceived to be politicizing this issue because of the role that I'm playing in this matter. And we should look at this matter devoid of politics. And in looking at it devoid of politics, we're saying perhaps the leadership right from the start did not handle this matter very well. The family, being in a very vulnerable position, should not be taken for granted. To suggest that they have no say in the burial of a person who is not only a father, but is also a husband, an uncle, a grandfather. He's many things to many people. It is important that the question that must be determined is what will constitute a decent burial. Like I said, in court we have submitted videos. It has been said that there is no will, but you can decipher, even from the way he was speaking, what he would have wanted. Not only that, he also communicated his wishes to those he loved. Even assuming that he didn't, the family has a right to decide what will amount to a dignified send-off. The culmination of all the things that have happened in between and put together seems to suggest that it will be impossible for President Hakainde Hichilema's government to give President Edgar Chagwa Lungu a dignified send-off. It will appear as though these are spoils of war we have conquered and therefore we are burying. That is what it may appear to be. And the family is trying to avoid such kind of a display, and they're saying we need to bury him in a respectful manner, in a manner that is deemed dignified on the part of the family. We know he was a president for all Zambians. We know that Zambians gave him this particular opportunity. But the manner in which the ones that want to superintend over this event does not connote or denote that this person will be given a dignified send-off. That is what it is. If I were President Hakainde Hichilema, and it is communicated to me that President Edgar Chagwa Lungu has died, the first thing I'd probably do is call the widow and say, listen, I may not have had a good relationship with your husband because we were playing politics. He has died now, and I know you may have preferences as a family. I want to assure you that I will be there for you to help in any way. If there's anything that I can do, we have a protocol, or we've developed this system over time where we bury our president at Embassy Park. If you are willing or you'd like to, it would be good. As a matter of fact, I would like to come through and convey my condolences. But if you can't allow me, perhaps I'll send my wife. Something like that could have shown some humane aspect from the government. Something like that could have shown that indeed they are interested in resolving these issues. If for some reason President Hakainde Hichilema thought that his relationship with President Edgar Chagwa Lungu was indeed that toxic, and or if the family says, no, we do not want to see you, he could simply request, may I send my wife to you? If I were him, I would say, perhaps I can send my wife to you to come and just convey my condolences. If you can't have my wife, perhaps the vice president or any minister to come through to you. It just doesn't have to be him. If the family says, it is you we don't want, why are you insisting? If the family feels a dignified send-off for President Edgar Chagwa Lungu would require that you are absent, give it to them. You will not die if you did that. Nothing wrong will happen to you if you did that. Just yield to the desires of the family. That gives them the sense that President Edgar Chagwa Lungu is a dignified send-off. Even if it means them burying away from home. If it gives them the sense that this is a dignified send-off. Leadership requires that you do just that. If you're going to negotiate, you don't negotiate using persons that have spoken ill of the deceased. You don't decide who should be on the other side whom you want to talk to. You don't decide who you're going to play football with from the other team. You can't say substitute the goalkeeper and put this goalkeeper. You don't do that. But in this whole thing, it may be more than we are seeing. And I would request that perhaps as a country, we pray for our nation. We pray for continued cohesion as a nation. But above all this, we need to pray for the Lungu family. We pray for God's comfort. We pray that if at all it is beyond what we see, if this matter could be spiritual, we pray that this matter be dealt with. We pray for God's intervention. It will be very important that we do that. In the meantime, the Lungu family wishes the Zambians well, and they thank you for the well wishes that you've expressed, the messages of condolences that keep pouring in, and they want you to know that they have not neglected you in any way. They just want President Edgar Chagwa Lungu to be given what would be a dignified send-off, and not his body to be treated as bounty or booty or indeed spoils of war. That is all they're asking for. I think it's not too much to ask. Thank you for having me, and we pray that you continue praying for us here in South Africa, continue praying for the family, for God to give them strength. Tomorrow will be exactly 2 months with President Edgar Chagwa Lungu in the morgue. May peace indeed. And we look forward to that particular day where we indeed say his soul is resting in peace.
Council, before I let you go, I don't know, are you able to take about 5 calls, then you leave? And number 2, speak to forgiveness, because the government and the chiefs have lined up, some so-called members of the church that they've lined up are saying we are not using this funeral to unite the country. It has in fact caused more division. Is that something the family could have done? I know from the family side probably they expected the president to apologize, the president to reach the family home. He has not reached the family home. He has not even, or for example, the first lady has not reached to see the former first lady. The funeral that was held at Belvedere was like a fanfare for the UPND, while the PF and others held at the secretariat. President Hakainde Hichilema has not been to the funeral home, either in Chifwema or to South Africa. But is there something you could have done? Because I saw the propaganda pushed on ZNBC, where the button is being pushed to the family, that the family is not being forgiving, the family is not using this funeral to unite. What are your perspectives on that?
You see, there's so much pressure being brought to bear on the family to say the family should be forgiving. Who has asked for that forgiveness? See, there are certain things that we have to be very sensitive when we're dealing with people that are bereaved. This matter in court has exposed a lot. Like we said, the story will be told, and it is being told. You heard how that the state, in their documents, are agreeing to say, yes, we stopped him for going for his medicals in 2023. We stopped him because he didn't present the particulars as to why he wanted to go. But later, they did not give a reason as to why they stopped him. But in the same breath, they said he had been ill since 2015, a condition that led him to go to South Africa on the 19th of January. Now, how evil can you be where you're saying we were aware all this time? We stopped him because he didn't tell us. But why should you tell you of something you are aware of if indeed that's... In your letter, you didn't say, why didn't you ask for particulars or the reasons? You simply say, it's denied. And at the time you were denying him, he still enjoyed what were the benefits of a former president. And you gave no reason. You go ahead and attempt and say that we stopped him from flying to Korea because the event that he was going for, which was a peace summit, by the way, an event that happens annually, there are no politics there. It's an annual summit. You said he was going there for political purposes. That's why we stopped. He went to Ndola. You said he was going there for political purposes. That's why you stopped him. When the invitation was by a pastor's fellowship and was to speak at the pastor's fellowship, you agree to all these things, and then you bring pressure to bear on the family that the family should forgive. It is not whether or not the family is forgiving or not. That is not the issue here. We can't reduce it to be an issue of forgiveness. It is an issue of what would amount to a dignified send-off for President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Indeed, everyone is forgiven. All are forgiven. Does forgiving someone mean that you acquiesce to a bad and dignified? We think not. A dignified burial is independent of issues of bitterness. It's independent of issues of forgiveness. It is just that. What will give this burial an aura of respectability that it deserves? Those are matters that ought to be considered. Those are matters that should be dealt with by those in government in looking at this thing, and not looking at this as a political exhibition intended to stop what is perceived as regional embarrassment or national embarrassment. It's beyond that. What amounts to a dignified, as to what amounts to a dignified send-off? Then you understand why the family thought burying privately would give President Edgar Chagwa Lungu a dignified send-off. Because in the middle of all this, you heard what Jack Mwimbu said in the National Assembly. You heard what the Vice President twice said in the National Assembly. You heard what Max Moe said in the National Assembly. You heard how that there's this allegation to say there was issues of drug trafficking. He was murdered because of issues to do with drug trafficking. His name is Jonathan Mtawari. You keep hearing all these things being propagated by those that are sympathetic to the government or indeed surrogates of the UPND, And then you expect the family to say, we'll give him a dignified send-off where the UPND or indeed President Hakainde Hichilema is superintending over the process. That the family has had difficulties to embrace. And every Zambian, every well-meaning Zambian, every person worth being called a leader would consider those as being very important. That's what I would say as regards this matter. Yeah.
Yeah, Council, can you take 5 questions before we let you go?
Well, I will answer the questions that are coming only to the extent that they relate to the issue that I'm dealing with.
Thank you. Callers, lines are open. I only take 5 questions in this round. Then we can remain where we can hear your views later. But I'll just take the first 5 callers. I know there is a huge number of people that have joined us. We are. I've got the first caller on the line. Caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Greetings, Ambassador Mwamba.
Greetings.
And good evening, Senior Counsel and accomplished lawyer, Mr. Makebi Zulu. Yeah, I think, first of all, my name is Chanoda Ngwida. I'm the spokesperson of Umozi Kumawa, also known as Kumawa Development Coalition. We want to start categorically, and we want to state Madam Esther Lungu as the main representative of the Lungu family. That as the people of Eastern Province, we are very disappointed with the government of Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. We are very perturbed that there are a lot of maneuvers in wanting the body of our late president, who is our son, to be repatriated back here home, even when the family has stated their position. And I want to state here and now that in the South African country, the laws are very clear. It's the wishes of the family. And let's not, debate or try to paint Emmanuel Mwamba, paint Makebi Zulu, or paint Madam Esther Lungu, or whoever with red colors, simply because they have stood on what they feel or what they know is right. So the best thing that the government of Mr. Hakainde Hichilema can do is allow the wishes of the the family. And the family says, we do not want to bury in Zambia. Why are we continuing to do politics over the body of a person that we never respected, a person that we never gave chance, to enjoy his retirement, a person who willingly gave, instruments of power to his, to the person that took over from him? Why are we tormenting the Lungu family? What are we trying to achieve in this whole thing?
Thank you.
Finally, Honorable Makebi Zulu, I know people have said a lot of things against you, and these people are the obvious people that do not want, the wishes of the family to be accomplished and fulfilled. I want you to stay strong. We are praying for you. And as Eastern Province, I want to officially state that as a people of Eastern Province, we stand with you and will continue standing with you. And Mwamba, as I conclude, please continue with this verified program that you give unto us as Zambian, because there's a lot that we do not know. And through your platform, we are able to, be taught what we do not know. May God bless the Lungu family, and may God strengthen Emmanuel Mwamba. May God strengthen Makebi Zulu. and may God strengthen the Lungu family. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chanoda, for that prayer and words of encouragement. Mama from Norway, you are on. Please make your contributions. Yes, you are on. Just a minute, just a minute. Oh, we seem to have lost here. Just a minute, Mr. Zulu, just a minute. Padi kaba pano padi diva. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Oh, just hold on, just hold on, just hold on, just hold on. Like, let me just put you on speaker. Oh, I've lost that call. Let me pick the other call. I think Patrick from the UK, you are waiting. Tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Thank you, Ambassador Mwamba. My name is Patrick Chilusia from the UK. And thank you so much for bringing Makebi. We've been looking forward to have him on this program. And thank you, Makebi, for the job you've done. As I won't take long, you've explained everything, but I really feel sad as a Zambian, and clearly shows that we don't have a leader in our country, because a true leader has compassion, a true leader has empathy, a true leader has love, a true leader is a unifier, and a true leader also is responsible and accountable. We've got a president, Makebi, who doesn't want to lose, or who doesn't seem to be losing. He wants to win at all costs. This person is a liability to our country. And Makebi, we pray for Esther and the family. So as a nation.
Oh, we lost Shilufia there. Hello, Mama. I hope we don't lose this one also. Are you there?
Okay. Good evening, Ramwamba, and good evening, Honorable Makebi Zulu.
Yes, please.
My contribution, thank you, Makebi, for finding time and the strength to come and speak to us. And Ramwamba, thank you for hosting. It is quite unfortunate that we're still talking about the funeral. It says a lot about who we are when we talk about Ubuntu. My contribution is, we have heard and read that it is important for a state funeral. And my thinking is, in the event, of course, for the family to settle wanting to bury in South Africa, I don't think that was the first option. The burying in South Africa about after the deal failed when the body was meant to be repatriated on the 18th. Now, I'm wondering, if the body was to be, so if it was ruled that we are going to bury in South Africa, is it necessary for the president to still represent Zambians in South Africa? Makebi, has the family requested that, yes, in Zambia they want a state funeral where the president should reside, but in the event the funeral will take place in South Africa, why must the president be present in South Africa? Why can't he send a representative, especially after being mentioned to him that he is not wanted? Because I feel we are creating unnecessary tension that we can simply avoid. And you see, like now you have appeared, we are getting to hear more things that we shouldn't be hearing about. I dearly hope that this can only show us to, and we go back to the drawing board. Maybe the state should just withdraw this case so that we don't get to hear more, because it will be very difficult for Zambia to start the healing process. I mean, it's now 2 months. When does the healing start? What is it really that we want when we want to talk so highly about Lungu, and yet Lungu is still not buried after 2 months? When is the healing going to start? We've got very strong men and women in the country. When does the guidance start?
Thank you, my dear sister. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening. This is Lilian Mutambo calling from the United Kingdom.
Thank you, Lilian. Thank you.
Greetings, Waimano Mamba and Honorable Makebi Zulu State Council. We are so proud of you as the diaspora. We've stood by you. And this is an encouragement that whatever you're doing, keep on, forging ahead. My main concern is about your security and Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu's family upon your return to Zambia after the burial. Have you put anything in place with that? Because I don't trust the UPND government. And what they've surely demonstrated is that, this is a mafia kind of government we're dealing with. And I am so concerned about your security. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Lilian. Thank you. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening. This is Sencho Banda.
Honorable Sencho Banda. Yes, make your contributions.
Sure. I'll be brief in my intervention. What is very sad is that while the vote was ongoing, and I just saw on Causeway, just quickly after the adjournment, is that there was the chimney and the white smoke. For me, I ask myself, where is our humanity? It's like we've lost the iota of our humanity, and we're a country which is on the crossroads. And specifically to our mother, the former First Lady, as a Zambian, when we were young, we are taught to respect women and elders. And in this regard, the treatment of the former First Lady is un-Zambian and a signal of troubling loss of national values and respect and compassion and decency. For me, I thought this is the time for reflection and not retaliation. National unity cannot be achieved through humiliation. We need wise leadership that can build bridges, not burn them. And the other question is, where is the church? Where are the voices of reasoning? The civil society, the church, traditional leaders must stand up for what is right. Silence in the face of injustice is accomplishing. As a Christian nation, we must ask God, where are we headed to if we lose our soul, just like winning a political fight? For me, basically, I think we need to call for mercy and national healing. We need national healing, not continued hostility.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Sencho Banda.
Justice,
yeah.
Compassion, and politics with morality. I think that's what I think. Otherwise, I think the way I saw the pictures of a First Lady. She looked frail and tired. Does that send our mother First Lady? What does it speak to our president? I think we need to be humane. I think that's my comment.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I've got a caller here, I think from UK. Caller, you've muted yourself. I think you wanted, tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador, Member, and Honorable Makebi Zulu. My name is Robam. I'm calling from Manchester. I think what I just wanted to say is just to give a word of encouragement for Makebi Zulu, because I can see the pain on his face, and he's just trying to make sure that we resolve this to the best of the ACO family and the country at large. It's just a message of love. Like, look, we do love you. And I want you to pass this message to the Lungu family that we are with them. And the people in the diaspora are with them. And we hope that we could have a proper send-off. And you're right, whatever you're doing, do not question yourselves. God is with you, and whatever you're doing is full of wisdom. And the kind of love that the ECO family have shown is something that every family in Zambia needs to understand, that you need to be united as a family. They've shown us the level of unity that I never expected to see. in an African family. We thank you so much, and just pass our message of love and peace, and just tell them that we're praying for them almost every day. Thank you so much, Honorable. Thank you so much.
Very much. Let me take this last call. Caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Oh, just a minute, caller. You are mute. Yeah. Yes, caller. Okay. Tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yes, I'm calling from South Africa. I'm a South African, by the way. That's how I like to introduce myself.
Oh, okay.
So, yes. So, you mentioned in your statement that the South African media, it's running around, like they don't know what they're reporting. Actually, I remember there was this lady who's an international reporter. I think you know her. So she mentioned something like that the Lungu family bought a house in Midrand in South Africa. So I just wonder if Mr. Zulu is still around, just to clarify maybe to the Zambians about that issue, like the way they mentioned about the 150 cars and something like that. There is actually the other guy by the name of Mugomboni, something like that. This guy is always spreading those lies. So I just like Mr. Makebi Zulu to just to clarify that issue.
Thank you. Last for now. We have to allow Honorable Makebi Zulu to go. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Honorable Mamba.
Good evening.
My name is Kabongo from the DRC, Kashobwe specific.
In Kashobwe.
Good evening. Yes, sir. Good evening, Honorable Makebi Zulu. I think I am not going to say much, but I am just going to encourage Makebi Zulu, and I would ask him to pass my message as a Zambian in diaspora to the Lungu family. Please tell them that we love them, we are with them. We cannot show up, all of us in South Africa, that we are with them. And Honorable Makebi Zulu, awe ulichaume sana iwe, ulendo kwa buta, efikalaba umefi. Na wamfuatu mwaume, ebwa ume, takwa manafimbi. Elobwa ume, when people fail to make decisions, and when you think at balanjita blame balanjita machina, but you stand firm, you put your foot down, no matter you are doing the right thing. Thank you so much, Honorable Mwamba.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. There are so many people. For all those that wish to call, we are going to have a session after Honorable Makebi Zulu leaves. He only gave me an hour. I've already exceeded an hour. But I'm persuaded by the huge numbers of people watching us locally and internationally. Already I can see the views on my pages. 112,000, 3,700 comments. Honorable Makebi Zulu, probably they would have loved you to stay longer. But please give your answers, and we know they now continue with the views. Honorable Makebi Zulu will hear you because you will still be tuned to us.
Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba. Well, allow me to thank those that have called in, and perhaps the issue that was raised by Mr. Chanoda Ngwira, where he's questioning the leadership of the country. I can only say that, can we for once put reason over pride? Can we allow reason to prevail and not pride? This is not a contestation that should be a win or lose situation. The question is, do we understand that all the family wants is a dignified send-off? Do we understand that? If your coming in the way does not give them a sense of a dignified send-off? Why don't you just back down? Reason over pride would be something that would resolve the impasse that is there. Lillian Mutambo, you ask a very interesting question as regards the security. Of course, we've gotten a lot of advice. We've gotten word of threats, both against the family and against myself. But we are of the view that safety is not the absence of danger. We are in danger all the time. Safety is not the absence of danger, but the presence of God. I can assure you that we will be coming to Zambia eventually, and God will take care of us, because safety is not the absence of danger, but the presence of God. Then Robert from Manchester, thank you for the kind words. I will be sure to convey your love to the family. And our prayer in all this is that perhaps the cracks that the death of President Edgar Chagwa Lungu are revealing of the areas of healing that our country needs. And perhaps President Edgar Chagwa Lungu is saying, should we continue living like this? Should we continue with this aspect of every time someone leaves government, they become targets of victimization, whether as ministers, as president? Should we continue like this? What are the far-reaching consequences of leading our country in that direction? What is the role of the church in all this? What is the role of the civil society in all this? What is the role of every citizen in all this? Should we continue with this aspect, for example, in the event that President Hichilema is no longer president? Eventually, he will no longer be president. Should we be saying, Kawala Laoyo, chase after him, victimize his family? There are ministers who are there. They will no longer be ministers soon. Should we continue on this path as a nation? Perhaps that's a discussion that we should be having. There was a concern to say that there's been things that have been said against the family and against myself personally. I would want to assure you, my fellow citizens, that I will not respond to any personal attacks against myself, and the family will do everything possible to keep the dignity of the death of President Edgar Chagwa Lungu without responding to all forms of propaganda that have been raised, which included the aspect of the Lungus have bought a house in South Africa, which is not true. The Lungus are living a luxurious life in South Africa, which is not true. The Lungus have bought 150 cars in South Africa, which is not true. And it is for that reason that we're saying, if you want us to discuss, and we have called on the government to say, we're willing to talk, but please stop this mudslinging, stop this propaganda, because you need to come with clean hands. You can't be saying we're talking to the family quietly and loudly using mediums such as Causeway and other mediums. You are propagating hatred against the family, trying to make people rise against the family, when all the family is asking for is one thing: how best can we give Edgar Chagwa Lungu a dignified send-off? Indeed, the treatment of the first family has been less than fair on them, and we will not succumb to all negativity, but in all this period we have dedicated ourselves to prayer and seeking the guidance of God in all this. That is what the family has dedicated its time to do, and they will continue to do so. Patrick Chilufya, Thank you very much for your contribution. And you said the president doesn't want to lose. This is not about who wins or who loses. This is about giving President Edgar Chagwa Lungu a dignified send-off. It's a moment for reflection as a nation. What constitutes good leadership? What constitutes how to treat leaders? Even assuming that the leaders are bad, how are we going to treat our leaders as a nation? Should it take death to realize that what we are doing is wrong? I think not. And that is the concern of the family, that perhaps through the death of President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, the nation will find the healing that it deserves. And for that reason, I agree with what my brother, Sencho Banda, has said. And perhaps it's time that we reflected on those issues and many more. Ambassador, I thank you very much for having me. Unless there's an issue that I may not have responded to amongst the issues that were raised. I know Robert, Patrick...
You have exceeded, Council, you've exceeded your hospitality, but it demonstrates how important this matter was to the nation. And I'm glad that you shelved a lot of meetings, including the one you are already late for, to just give the insights you've given. I'll let you go, and I would like to thank you so much. Dear viewers, when we come back, I'll take all your calls as much as possible. I have so many calls, but let's see how many calls we can take as we excuse Honorable Makebi Zulu.
How can you allow somebody?
Thanks for having me.
Murdered
Great.
Your son or your daughter.
But let's see how many calls we can take as we excuse Honorable Makebi Zulu.
How can you allow somebody who has murdered your son or your daughter and you are still mourning to come and attend the funeral, and we went to speak at the funeral?
But how good your son
was. And you know about it, you say, wait a minute, what's happening? And I think I can just say the whole thing. I summed it up when I spoke to one guy. I said, because how can you, Ambassador?
The late indicated. But what even the court was asking, that did the deceased president make his wish that he wanted to be buried in Zambia? And the answer was yes. So who is saying he shouldn't be buried in Zambia? The first respondent is the one who has made the decision. But again, of course, she could have made that decision because the law here in South Africa says the next of kin. Yeah, so it's looking at what the law says here.
Is this something that the...
Indeed, Attorney General, the law in South Africa says the next of kin. Then we wonder what we are doing in court. Caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello, good evening. I'm Don Oscar. I'm calling from Italy. Good evening, and my greetings to the viewers, and my greetings also to Counsel Makebi Zulu, who indeed has communicated with us, has shared the experience they had this morning in South Africa. Good evening, everybody. I wanted to take advantage to ask a question to Honorable Makebi Zulu, but all the same, if you can just allow me now, I don't know whether to pose a question or to give my my comment. I don't know what you can allow me to do.
You can ask the questions. Honorable Makebi Zulu is listening. I've taken time to study this matter. Other callers also can help. Temano Ndikwatilawe, everyone can contribute. If there is a question, put it on the floor. If I can't answer it sufficiently, other callers will. We still can even call Honorable Makebi Zulu on the phone. So please, yeah, just be free. But he's also listening. He's going in the car, he's listening.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much. I have understood that the bone of contention in this case of the family is that the government did not respect the contract agreed upon before. And I remember vividly that the contract was signed, I think, in the presence of Councillor Makebi Zulu and Mr. Patrick Chagwa on the part of the government. So that day, I remember very well, that was agreed upon, and all the Zambian people, me included, we were expecting that the contract was going to be respected. But unfortunately, the outcome was the opposite. And so Makebi Zulu, the Lungu family, indeed, I sympathize with the Lungu family. I was in South Africa that time when all these things happened. So I'm one of the witnesses. Indeed, I sympathize with the Lungu family. And my observation is, irrespective of whatever judgment, the family has the right to decide. So whether they would judge in favor of the government, whether they would judge in favor of the family, what I've understood according to the South African law, the family has the right to decide. If the family loses the case, Mr. Mwamba, this is my question. If the family hopefully it doesn't happen like this. If the family loses the case, don't you think it's the right thing to advise them to appeal to the High Court? Because losing the case, it means that the judges will be, the case will be a miscarriage of justice. Hello?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think we've got your question. I'll endeavor to respond.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That is a Catholic priest, Father Donosco, Mwanza Pombo from Italy. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Oh, just a minute. Just a minute, caller. Just a minute. We need to resort to... Yes, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello?
Yes, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Yes, good evening, ma'am. Good evening, Mamba, and good evening, Honorable Makebi Zulu.
Thank you. Make your contributions quickly. Thank you, Zephania.
My question to Honorable Mnia Zulu is
Makebi Zulu.
Did that audio which leaked for Robert Chavinga submitted, and this man called Frank Zimba, who claims Aka Fimba Upoke, who has been accusing the late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu that he was engaged in drug trafficking, what measures are they going to do, you as a spokesperson and the lawyer for our mother? And that is the question I wanted to find out.
Thank you, Zephania. Thank you. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwambas. Thank you very much for bringing Makebi Zulu Pamuela. Nine bwana nimasikulu kwa kapota mkwai. Ndefa ukipsha kweli kusheli na chwana ukipsha na mtweba tibala umfwabene get answer. If it wa mwana Pamuela ifingi pa internet freelando yo we yaba lungu kuma offices yaba Makebi Zulu ya diruba. Ushe enfio elo nangoline enfio. Ukuya ku kwantanshi kwa milando ishani tulelomba lesa. Kwai ningufuna abalondola kuno ke bathi Pamuela palimbila umsangonse kona uleshinali aba president mufa yabo balikwata ichuma chakuti kuchaloku na benna banashiwa n'abana bonse libekeli balilosha kulya ati bali in luxury fira kwena natusula tefyo mbange fifi tutumia kwa ati Makebi Zulu under fire we have a Lungu course kuma kuyalo. There's no copy in the High Court.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Let me take as many calls as possible because of the huge numbers of people waiting just to contribute. This is your show. Hello. Caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Okay, my name is Danny, calling you from Canada.
Yes, Danny from Canada.
First and foremost, I just want to let people know that let us put you, Ambassador Mwamba, in our prayers. You haven't slept. You've just been guiding us, and since morning of our morning today, I've just been following you. So we commit you in your prayers, and we thank you. Then I think as the lawyer Makebi Zulu concluded, I think he said a very good point. We've never seen our head of state visit or call the family of ECL. And for me, that is where I should ask all Zambians. If this person has never called the family, do you think he means well? Because Makebi Zulu said it in a very good way. We expected them to come and see us and sit down with us. We would have not reached this far. But what I'm saying is, this person just wants to bring confusion. But I'm asking you, all Zambians, let us pray for Zambia and the ECL family. Thank you, and God bless Zambia. Thank you, Pastor Emmanuel Mwamba.
Thank you very much. Yeah, let's take as many calls as possible. This is your show. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Keep me just anonymous.
Yes, anonymous. Make your contributions.
Chabinga barandira tibajaji South Africa bafire balia ushe ili audio bali chitako submit mkoti pandi tuletina Chabinga balira ndaupina tibajaji bafire balia so ni shina muri umulandu balali yapo taulapwa pandi twale umfatio ya audio kaibika mkoti Chabinga balie bechalo atyo bajaji bafire balia.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I'll ask Honorable Makebi Zulu just that question. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Good evening. Yes, good evening, Ambassador.
Good evening.
Yes, this is Davis Chukumbi calling from Western Province, Mongo.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And good evening, Council.
Yeah.
I just wanted to find out one or two things from the Council. Number one, apart from the very sister to the deceased that we see, is there any other close family members like the siblings of the late apart from that other sister? That is number one. Then number two, I just wanted to find out the position of the family, if at all the outcome of the court will be in favor of the government. Their plans do they have the plans of appealing to a higher court or what? That's what I wanted to find out. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Hello, caller. Oh, we lost that caller. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Nditaba munkonge mlishani. Ipusheni ama ipusheni mwaku ipusheni fe nangpane fe mulelanda whether pobali or not is part of the program.
Okay, awe ishkwetelele fya kurande fingi ukoseresha fyo kwebati bakonkanye ko fyo kupepa fe washintira palile satura bapepera kona ngula tabatu ishiba oro fe bali kulu bali lwabonga ture pepa oro ture mune fintoko fileya filelango kulingana na le sofia lefuwa turaba bansanza so ndikoseresha ko fena bamba na family yonso ko bali
tafini bashintirira abaikata kuri Kristo bakunkanyepo tafirwa poro takafirwe bakunkanyepo icho baromba kuri yena ekikachitika tapaka bichimbi chikachitika bakarara fe mucho bote aba fyashini chitaikafika kulingana na Kristo mwino so ichetekero chabo nokushintirira muri Kristo bakunkanyepo fe pamakasa.
Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
This is Professor Siama Felix from Devon.
Oh, yes, Professor. How are you?
Okay, and how are you, Your Excellency? Or should I say my Excellency?
Thank you very much, my dear brother. Thank you, Professor Felix Siame.
Yeah, just a little bit. I live in South Africa, as you can talk about it. And the law of South Africa entails what we have all talked about, that the body belongs to family. I kept hearing in the court someone saying the Zambian law. And yet the body was in South Africa. If I commit a crime in South Africa, they don't follow Zambian law to punish me. I commit a crime in South Africa, they deal with me in South Africa. We have had issues of people like that other guy, Bushiri and Omotoso. Their countries beg that they should be repatriated. They should go there, their country to do the whatever offense they did. They said no, they committed a crime here in South Africa. This body is in South Africa. The law, the courts are in South Africa. Zambia has got no law about the late president where they should be buried. So I think if there's a way to avoid that, it could be helping, because people refer about that. Secondly, we all know that it's not the Lungu family who brought this problem up. They were very ready to bring the boy to Zambia, except after our country or our nation, Zambia leadership, changed their position and want to swindle the body. Lastly, I have come to a conclusion, spiritually speaking. The issue is not about honoring the president. We can still honor him even if he's buried in Monrovia. We have honored people, we don't even know where they were buried. They were freedom fighters. It's about the body, it's a body. Papa body palilia sharp. That's why I was one of the first pastors to write on that the star of ECL was strong and people were fighting about it. This is where we are now. If it's about honoring him, we can still honor him even if he was not buried in Zambia. So this issue of the body is what we need to pray about. It's something spiritual that we need to talk about as Zambians and not ignore that the family was ready to bring the body to Zambia. We are ignoring that part. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. While I was ambassador in Ethiopia, every national independence, I would go to the Commonwealth grave because there are two Zambians who were buried there during the war in 1942, and we still honor them, but they're buried in Ethiopia. I suspect this is someone I think I know. Caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba. This is Isaac Mwanza.
Okay, so I couldn't mention you because 90% of Zambians want to be anonymous, so I didn't want to expose you in the event that you wanted to be anonymous.
I'm a person who loves to be very clear.
Yeah. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you.
Ambassador Mwamba, let me just thank you for the work that you are doing. You are a human being that is committed to Zambia. You're like a human being like any other person with all their faults and all the positives, but I think that we need to say you are doing a good job.
Thank you, Isaac.
Now,
thank you very much.
Coming to this matter, first I want to pass my condolences to the family and of course to the people of Zambia for that loss. It's the first time that I'm trying to comment on this matter, and after hearing Honorable Makebi Zulu, my brother, I think that I want to just pose a question whether there is still a possibility for the government and the Lungu family to sit down and discuss. Honorable Makebi Zulu brought out a very, very good point to say probably the people that should have negotiated this could have been Madam Mutinda Hichilema herself, to be sent to say, go and talk to your sister in South Africa so that you can try and come up with an agreement. So for me, my thinking is that is there a possibility for the government and the Lungu family, especially from the Lungu family's point of view, to see whether they can sit down if the emissary was sent, whom they accept to say, okay, fine, this is Madam Mutinda who was flown in today. Can they sit down and negotiate and talk as to how the burial is supposed to take place and agree so that there is some consensus? Because at the end of the day, Ambassador Mwamba, what we must appreciate here is that the court system is very adversarial. There is no draw in a court game, and there's always somebody who's a winner and a loser. And it can be painful to be on the losing side of it. Whether it's a family or it's a government, it can be a very painful moment. And so to try and avoid this, going through this, we have a few days that are remaining before the judgment. Is it possible that both sides, they can get back to the table and sit and talk and say, this is how we are going to go forward? Remove the people that have been negotiating on behalf of government at this point. Let the people that Honorable Makebi Zulu, for instance, he has mentioned, our First Lady, to travel to South Africa and be able to say, Madam, can we sit down? This is the issue I've been sent by my husband. Can you please listen to us? This is what we want to do. Is there a possibility, a window of opportunity to try and resolve this matter? I can only wish the family well. I can only pray for them. I am praying for the safety of Makebi, Jonas, and the rest that have been involved in this matter. But all I'm asking is, can we sit down and discuss so that we avoid this unfortunate situation where we have reached at this point? Thank you so much, Ambassador Mwamba.
Isaac, you are very right. The South African cabinet, shortly after, the following day on 26th June, sat and deliberated over the matter regarding a former president who was in South Africa, and the matter was now being litigated in South Africa. The South African government appealed to the family and President Hakainde Hichilema to use the opportunity that were given, because there was a long calendar from 25th June up to 18th August when judgment to be given. They had said, see how you can resolve this. Instead, what we've seen is insults. No credible envoy has come to meet the family. Isaac, I understand your concern, but there hasn't been demonstrable commitment. I think the family has been willing to resolve this matter at any time. The family has been willing to resolve this matter. There are so many calls, but we'll try to take as many as possible. Good evening, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello, good evening, Ambassador. How are you doing? You're talking to Mr. Chifunda here.
Mr. Chifunda, quickly make your contributions.
Yes, I just want to, first of all, thank you in person for just the work you have been doing lately. It's not easy. May God richly bless you and keep you safe. And secondly, I just want to share my grievances concerning the current government over the way they have been working and doing things over the opposition leaders that have been persecuted, from Chimbakambwili, Zulu, and all these people. It has been a witch hunt that has not stopped from the time they got into power, but they haven't delivered what they are supposed to deliver, and they have been concentrating on wrong things. Now, coming to the ECO body, I don't see why they are so persistent in wanting to see that body, first of all, come back to Zambia, of which we haven't seen any remorse in the president. We haven't seen any love for him to stay in Zambia all this time, not go there. So we don't even see why he's consistently following up that case. Anyway, for Makebi Zulu, my words to him is stand, be a man that God has called you to become, and you are the only one who can stand against this regime in this way, because you're prepared and God is with you. May God protect you and cover you. You and Ambassador Mwamba, continue doing the work you're doing. That's what I wanted you to call and just contribute this evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Caller, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador.
Good evening.
Honorable Muribwanji.
Bachokapo wamimvela.
Okay. No, ndifuna nikambe kuti wankale wolimba mtima kumenya na nkonde because aba bamene balipo ba president aba bafuna libe kuononga chabe ngaone mwamene wavutira ba first lady bafoma first lady na manje ngati muntu safuna ijabu ngatafuna libe afuna kutandizira mwachazoona asemba pasaulemo family na kama kuti wachite bamene bafuna kuchita manje apa mungaone kuti bali na mapangano yoinango chabe palija tupi ya former president usatanism ulimo ziko.
Thank you very much, caller. Caller, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
My name is Walia. I'm calling from the United States of America.
Walia, please make your contributions.
Yeah, I'm going to say it has already been said. I think looking at this matter, it's like, I think it's just a spiritual.
Hello, we are losing you. Hello. Uh-oh. Hello. Call, are you using speakers? Oh my God. Hello. Oh, I'm so sorry. I have to cut this line. You kindly call back. Kindly call back. Hello. Caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Ambassador, this is Mwewa Chinufa calling from Livingston.
Yes, Mwewa.
First of all, I would want to pass my condolences to the family, the Lungu family, especially Mama Esther Lungu. Mr. Samuel Mkupau was a very, very close friend to Mr. Lungu, Mr. Given Luvinda, and the entire PF family, and of course the Donsarans family. It hasn't been easy, but what I can tell you, what I can say is that God is with you, the family, to our Lungu, and maybe Mr. Makebi can give us a recage when we are planning, so that to buy a ticket fast. That's what I'm going.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Well, this is Anonymous from United States of America.
Yes, Anonymous.
No, my words chair, encouragement kuri family ya Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Walimbe chabe mulungu ali na beve andi mawe amene bakamba bakanso Makebi Zulu ya jokamba after maliro ya siraya lokunga twashika ku South Africa maliro bazabwera ku Zambia bafunika che kubwera ku Zambia ni atutonse kulibe mwini wake wa Zambia amene Afrika ashita intimidate mnzake kulibe amene ana mapepa ana matitle deed ya Zambia kulangiza abantu ati Zambia ni anganeka usafrika kubwera kulibe na bamene vinga chitika ati ya court cases bazapushinga lamulo ndi ameneza chitabwanje ambassador iza sevenza aliyense muntu amene azamba kutenga chera lamulo manja mwake after all this drama ends lamulo zaka bakonka wazakaenda ku prison Zambia ni Zambian alliance. It doesn't mean that want to wakuvuta wankala president manyeshi wankala mpamvu chila Zambian alliance. Yeah, that's not the way it is. Zambia is for every Zambian. Waja walimonga ni administrator tinawasa ankache kutiranganira che but ikafika time ngataona tu administrator swase wenza bwino tina mpamvu zoshita bwanji zowapeleka kwa wenzeli kunkala. I submit your answer.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hi, good evening, Ambassador, and good evening to every listeners from across the world. I wish to remain anonymous at this point.
Thank you.
For security reasons. Yes, I wish to lay my contributions or my concerns. So, looking at how things are working out, a lot of people are emotional and they don't know what the outcome might be. I've been scrolling through Facebook during the day, and I've seen how the UPND praise singers or the UPND members are jubilating over what was in court today because maybe they lack knowledge on what was taking place. But that is not a problem. I just want to quote from the Bible where Paul and Silas prayed and the prison gates were opened. So this is a case where people think that the Lungu family have lost. They may have lost to the Zambian government or the people of Zambia, but they have gained in the sight of God. And what I know from the Bible is that God fights for the defenseless. And the defenseless in this case could be the widow and the orphans. And the Bible also says that whatever you do, just know that it will come back to you later on in life. I wish Mr. Hichilema could have a heart as a human being and think about the widow and the orphans, what he has put them through. They have not put their beloved to rest. Tomorrow marks exactly 2 months. For 2 months. In the way that they find it okay. He knows what exactly happened between him and the late ECL. He knows how his government tormented ECL and his family. And to that, to do what they feel is right for them to do at this point in time. Now, we have seen, we as the concerned Zambians, we have seen how the family has been tormented around, has been tossed around. No, you know what, people? Kashikeni, the rest of the things will be discussed later. But he's even letting his people, his members, to insult the family, others to go on and say that Lungu is not dead, he's still alive in South Africa, he's going to come back during elections. Why did he say that he knew that Lungu was dead before the family could even inform him? Why is he letting his people do all those things? That is very bad and that is so inhuman. Does he know the kind of pain and torture that he is putting the family through and he has put them through? Like HH today, we as a concerned Zambians in the diaspora, I don't even know how to speak Tonga, but I'm gonna try. We are begging you, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, open your heart and let the family bury according to the way they want to be fit to send their beloved one to his final resting place. May the spirit of ECL rest in peace. It's been wandering for the past 2 months. I rest my case, Honorable.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello.
Hello, caller.
Yes, hi. This is Pumulo, Queen Pumi.
Queen Pumi from, is it California?
Yes.
Thank you, Queen Pumi. I'm honored. Please make your contributions.
Oh, yeah, online?
Yes. Are you making contribution to the program?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I thought, okay, all right. Yes, so thank you, Honorable Mwamba and Honorable Makebi Zulu, regards to the family there by Esther Lungu and the entire team. So my question is, why can't the government construct a monument? Because I think if they really want to honor ECL, the body cannot be the only way to honor him. So I think one option is to construct a monument and hold a state funeral without the body. And the other kind of, it's an observation, kind of a question. I've listened to Council Zulu explain the 5 main points stated by government. Lawyer, they want to exclusively repatriate the body. I'm not going to go down the list. But since we know what they want to exclude the body and take control of the body like they are the next of kin. My question is, have the family considered that their loved one will be treated like a spoil of war, as Makebi said earlier? It's like they want to treat the body of ECL as a bounty, a spoil of war. And there is news on the ground that our beloved son, Why Me, he was desecrated and mutilated in his torture before he died. We don't know if he's dead. We haven't seen the body. But there is rumor that this young man was actually mutilated. His body was mutilated. He was tortured. And, I'm asking Makebi Zulu to say, have they presented this in their presentation? Because the news coming in is that we have another enemy, for lack of a better word, whose body was desecrated or mutilated and he has gone missing. And we just feel like, I think 2 months away from the death, with no burial in sight, they're insisting on the body. Could they want to mutilate the body or desecration to, you know? We know that in war times, if we read history, the victors of the war, they took the bodies to intimidate the victims who had, you know, lost their life in that war. And let's be honest here. Let's call a spade a spade. This has been war between the HH and ECL. And for them to really hang on to that body, now we have left no option but to think that they want to mutilate this body or do whatever they can as an act of intimidation. And I'm backing this because the commander himself of, is it Zambia Army Baziele, he said that when the ECL's body arrives, no one will have access to it. So if you really want to honor ECL, why can't you just have a monument and honor him and leave the body to the next of kin? Because government is not next of kin. This is just a circus which is embarrassing all of us and stressing the whole family. And we just pray for Mama Esther to be strong and live through this nightmare. Thank you.
Thank you, Queen Pumi. Thank you so much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Ambassador, thank you very much for taking my call. This is Anonymous from the land of AI. I just want to appreciate this great program that you are doing. Yes, I just have a comment, I believe. The UPND leader, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, does not mean well. We have seen how his people have spoken with disrespect towards the late president and his family, including people like, Mr. Mwetwa, Mr. Jack Mwimbu. Even the vice president on the floor of parliament has issued disparaging remarks, against Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu and the family. Even their related social media platforms like Koswe and so on and so forth have continued to issue statements that are no less than insults. It's my considered view, therefore, that it is not the honest intention of Mr. Hichilema to honor Dr. Edgar Lungu. Mr. Hichilema is looking at winning this argument over the body as a competition for reasons that may be way too sensitive to even mention on this platform, And so I want to read a quick verse in the Bible, Exodus chapter 22, verse 22 to 24. It says, "You shall not afflict any widow or fatherless child. If you afflict them in any way, they will cry to me. I will surely hear their cry, and my wrath shall wax hot, and I will kill you with a sword, and your wives shall be widows, and your children will be fatherless." I hope Mr. Hakainde Hichilema could take a look at this verse and consider it seriously, because the games that he's playing, we see through him. Thank you very much, Ambassador. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much. Let me take this call. Just hold on, please. Just hold on. We have another caller who's waiting here. Just hold on. Yes, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Okay. This is Anonymous from Zambia.
Yes, Anonymous.
I just wanted to contribute, or rather add some words concerning the same challenge that we are experiencing in our country. First of all, I would say it's good that God has made it in this manner that as a country we are learning something out of this. You can hear me, right?
Yes, we can. Please contribute quickly so that we can allow others. We are beginning to wind up.
Okay, thank you so much. So, I also wanted to comment on Mr. Isaac that I said, if at all there is that period of reconciliation between the family and the state. I feel myself that time is no longer there, because if somebody reaches an extent of taking you to police or rather to court, I think that period is over, and let law just guide, and then later on, that's when maybe they can reconcile. As for now, I think there is no that period of, there is no that time of reconciliation.
Thank you. Thank you, caller. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
I'll remain anonymous for tonight, Ambassador Mwamba.
Yes, thank you very much, Anonymous.
Thank you. I just have a little message for the Lungus. I would like to just tell them that they are not alone in this situation. They have people who respect them, pray for them, and stand with them beyond politics. And I want to encourage them to remain united, remain calm. They need to seek wise counsel. They need to keep praying and to continue acting with the dignity that they've shown us. In times like this, they need to be more united, and we have seen that. So I'm just encouraging them to remain united, keep encouraging each other. They should maintain their strength. They should maintain their silence, which they have. And I believe their resilience and unity will speak louder than words. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
I wish to remain anonymous. I'm a Zambian calling you from Israel, Jerusalem.
Wonderful. Make your contribution.
Yes. First of all, as a Zambian, after having followed the proceedings that took place today, I feel very sad seeing the issue being dragged into a foreign country like that. Not to say that, first of all. And what I would wish to say is this, the family is grieving, and they have all the rights to decide where they would like to bury their loved one. In this case, we're talking about the late former President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Okay? And then we have a very massive population of Zambians who also wish that their former president, who has passed away, should be buried in Zambia. I don't know why our current president, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, is insisting by all means that he should see the body, that he should be there. If the family does not wish him to be there, what's the problem? Because from my knowledge, this in our constitution, it does not state that the president should be there. If the family wish that he's not there, and in this case, there's no winner. Whether the courts in South Africa tomorrow they decide that the government has won or the family has won, no one will win in this case, because it's a shame, and it's something that I think we still have some time as a people of Zambia, as a government. We still have some time before the judgment is even passed. That if the president could humble himself and renegotiate with the family and talk to them in a nice way and find a solution and listen to them to understand what they really want. Because we all know that the relationship with Mr. Hakainde Hichilema was not good with the former Republican president. May he so rest in peace.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. The last caller from Israel. There are so many calls, but I'm sorry. We have to end the program, and for all those questions, I like the questions that came from Isaac, that can the family and the state reconcile. We haven't seen leadership from President Hakainde to resolve this matter. Oh my, this I have to take, because this is my bishop. He will reprimand me. Bishop Dr. Paul Bupe. Sir, I'm so sorry. You are allowed. You can call anytime.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yes, Bishop, make your contribution.
Am I live now?
Yes, sir.
All right, wonderful. Well, first and foremost, I'd like to commend State Council Makebi Zulu for representing the Zambian people well. I never thought we could have lawyers who have a human face, a good heart. I commend him greatly. Cool and collected, informed by the Zambian values, a people of peace, love, and care. That's who we are. What is happening now is un-Zambian, unheard of. I'm even shocked. We do have Africa's wisdom for today's living, which can inform our activities, not what we are seeing. May I say this? Wisdom is wisdom to the wise. To the unwise, wisdom is not wisdom at all. No matter what you say, if somebody is not wise, they will not take it. So, Africa wansevanya. Now I can say Zambia wansevanya. That poem reaches out to what is happening today. May God help the Lungu family. May God help them to mourn. And let's stop this. We need wisdom to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. That is Bishop Dr. Paul Wupe of Ndola. I couldn't resist when I saw his number. These are very respected men in our society. And if they wish to use this platform to guide the nation, what more can I do? So thank you very much for today's program. There were a lot of questions for Makebi Zulu. There were a lot of questions. But ignore the propaganda that comes from, especially from Koswe, that or whatever subsidiaries they create. Ignore that propaganda. It's meant to divide. It's meant to scandalize. It's meant to raise hate speech and hate feelings against the Lungu family. Almost 100% of the lies they tell are truly, truly just lies. And Makebi Zulu went to a great extent to debunk these lies. And remember what he said about the other allegations, that if there is no will and if there is a will, either way it benefits the next of kin. That's what the South African laws say. So do not believe those lies. In fact, one of the reasons what motivates me to stay up late all night and stay up late all day, speak to people, gather information, persuade people like Honorable Makebi Zulu to come to a platform like this, is exactly the toxic diet that our people are subjected to. Can we have, as a nation, decent diet of information, credible information? Now we no longer trust. Even if someone said this one is dead, you will need 10 other people to confirm that this one is dead. The environment is so toxic. The propaganda fueled across the country is so bad that it has literally divided us and tribalized us into groups. Something very strange. You have seen every guest I've brought here. They appeal to President Hakainde Hichilema to unite the country. Because at every opportunity that President Hakainde Hichilema has, whether he wants to reform the constitution, whether he wants to deal with the issue of land, he is very divisive in the manner that he goes about it. He is dividing the country. And many people have said, Icho mkala mbayo amwene ili wekele. KK said he feared most, among all politicians in Zambia, he feared that, God forbid, that President Hakainde Hichilema should take the reins of power, because he's one person that would divide the country and you throw away the one Zambia, one nation. Just look at the comments, how divided they are. How can someone from another region, you can even predict what they are going to say, and another person from another region predict what they are going to say? This is a country standing on its precipice. It's a country that is divided. It's a country that can break any time. looking at the tensions that are stoked, the fires that are being stoked. People are playing with fire before a gasoline tanker. That's what we are doing. No one is bothered. You heard many callers out there saying, where is the church? Because the salt of the earth is supposed now to bring us together. They are equally silent. And you have to understand why. Because even they are either participating or they are victims of this hate-fueled debate and toxicity that has just engulfed our country. Whether we are talking about even an innocent thing like inflation, the economy, elections, constitution, even farming, there is no innocent subject. And there's no one who's applying the brakes that can we detoxify this environment? Can we allow peace to foster? Can we allow peace to reign? No one is doing that. And we have to blame the president because he's a leader of this country. He's supposed to be a father of all. He's supposed to take the lead. He has not been to the funeral of the late president. He has not seen the widow. His wife has not seen the widow. You have not been to a funeral home. You arranged Belvedere, your own outfit, where none of the PF members and many opposition leaders never went to Belvedere Lodge. And you call that you have mourned? And every day you are seated at State House telling every guest that come how you are mourning, how you are not moving, how you are not traveling. Can you walk the talk? Can you abandon your hypocritical stature? Can you match your words with action? Can you end this conflict? Can you end this tension that has gripped the nation? We want to Akwalisa. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll inform you that a guest that will bring, and we wish you well, and we pray for our country that God will restore to what was envisioned by our forefathers and foremothers. God bless you.
How can you allow somebody who has murdered your son or your daughter, and you are still mourning, to come and attend the funeral? And we went to speak at the funeral.
But how good your son
was. And you know about it. You say, wait a minute, what's happening? And I think I can just say the whole thing. I summed it up when I spoke to one guy. I said,
pesa umana
Bengi maya Ichichena chakalipa Wakulekela we mwine Utule we mfumu Bengi watusha Ichichena chafinisha Wakulekela we mwine